Shit. There we go. Whew. Hello, and welcome to Queer Talks with me, Elliot. I am sick today. Who else is sick? Is anyone else sick? I know that Miles is, but you look so tired. It's because I am. I haven't been able to sleep because I've been sick. I'm so congested. It is unbelievable. But, I've been just sitting at the house, obviously, or in my apartment, and doing nothing, waiting to get better because it's not like I feel like I'm gonna vomit or anything like that. I just have a cold, or at least I'm hoping it's just a cold and not like an infection or something. But I'm thinking it's a cold, but I haven't been doing anything, so might as well do a Queer Talks. Hey, just a quick thing. I don't know if I said something, but would prefer if you didn't call me queen. So please don't do that. My girlfriend is at her house, I think. She's not here. That was in reference to a question already asked. Excuse me. Bo is behind me. He doesn't usually participate in this because he's pretty antisocial. Actually, I think he's kind of camera shy. I think he knows what a camera is and does not like it. Anyways, so I've just been hanging out. Let's talk about all things queer. I'm here for the dog, Bo. I can understand why you would be here for the dog. I understand. Come here. No, he's really comfy on his blanket. Yeah, queer talk. Let's talk about all things queer. If y'all didn't know, which would be weird at this point, I self-identify as queer. So, this is something that I talk about a lot. It is almost June, which June is Pride Month, I believe. I know a lot of prides take place during the month of June. Los Angeles, San Francisco, New Orleans, New York. A ton of prides happen during the month of June. But then there are some prides in other states. In Georgia, it's in October. And I think in North Carolina, it's also not in June. It's in September or something. I can't remember. I have friends in Georgia and North Carolina, who are queer. So that's the only... Yeah, that's the only thing. What does it exactly mean to be queer? I always, the literal definition in the, dictionary is odd, strange, not quite the ordinary, stuff like that. So, I very much identify with that, but queer in reference to LGBTQ, to me it means, I think honestly queer is very individual. You can sort of define it, however you want it for yourself. Yeah, I don't know. So for me, I'm queer. You know, I'm not cis and I am not straight. So I feel queer in that sense. I think it means anything but cis and straight, but you can then self-identify what queer means to you, if that makes sense. That's how I think of it anyways. If anyone else thinks of it in a different way, feel free to let me know. But that's how I feel about it. I'm not going to blow my nose because, one, I don't have to, which is the shitty part. Because, like, I'm just so congested, nothing is moving. But, yeah, it's also gross. I don't want to blow my nose on camera. Anyways, let's stay on the queer topic. How do you feel about people not wanting to use the word queer? That's cool. If some people don't want to use the word clear, if some people don't want to use the word queer for themselves, that's fine. I don't see the problem with that. There are some people who really think it's a very offensive term and don't want to use it because of that fact. But there are some people who have reclaimed it and take pride in it, so and use it to explain their identity and who they are. So I don't know. Once again, I think it's really individual to a person. But if a person doesn't want to use the term queer or be referred to as queer, it's not hard. Just don't refer to them as queer, and they're not queer. You know? Like, it's easy. So, yeah. I don't know. Do you like labels, or would you rather we were all label-less? I don't know. I think my favorite thing to say, if you haven't noticed, is it's always individual. So, I am not a person, like, labels are kind of like meh to me. Like, some labels I'm like, yeah, okay, I identify with that. And then some labels I'm like, no, I don't really want to label myself, you know? And I know that a lot of people are like, fuck labels. Like, I don't want to be labeled, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. You can do that. And then there are people who really, really like deeply identify with certain labels and have found community within labels and stuff like that. And that's awesome too. Like, it's so individual. And also, like, please just let yourself know that it's okay to, like, fluctuate. You know what I'm saying? Like, some days you can be like, yeah, I really identify with this label, and then some days you can be like, no, I don't want to be labeled today. It makes me feel, I don't know, it makes me feel like it's okay to feel different ways on different days. Okay? Does that make sense? Someone is, like, stomping above me. How rude. Just kidding. Maybe they're doing something really important. Elliot, I just graduated my homophobic, transphobic school, and I get to be out. I'm so relieved. Not a question. I'm just excited for myself. I'm excited for you, too. Congratulations on graduating. Hell yeah. Get that diploma, degree, whatever. Nice. And also, hell yeah, you get to be yourself. Tips on getting people to use pronouns and name. Honestly, the most consistent thing that I have seen if you feel like you can't do it yourself, like in a public situation, ask your friends to do it if they're not doing it already. Like, they sort of should be doing it already, but I guess it's okay if they don't know. Like, just say, like, hey, guys, can you please, like, I find it really hard to, like, correct people when they misgender me or whatever. Like, could you please speak up for me or whatever? And, like, if they're good friends, they'll be like, yeah, of course. If they say no, then what? That confuses me. But unless you've specifically asked them not to correct people because you don't want to be out, it's all individual. Yeah, just consistently correcting. And also, people always have a tendency to get, like, angry when you correct them, but, like, try and make it, which is really silly, the fact that you have to, like, tiptoe around their feelings when it really hurts when someone misgenders you. Just sort of, say, oh, sorry, no, it's blank, insert whichever pronouns you use. Or, no, my name, hey, actually, can we start, can you say, insert your name here? Like, it's always, if you come at it with a level head, people are more likely to be like, oh, shit, sorry. And also, if you get corrected for being, like, or for misgendering someone or whatever, literally say, correct yourself, or say sorry quick, or don't say sorry at all. But I'm a person that is just like, oh, quickly say sorry, go, I'm sorry, I meant, and then use the right pronoun and continue on with your conversation. Do not stop the conversation and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's just so hard for me because you just transitioned and I don't understand. And, pronouns are so little, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Don't say that shit. It's not about you. And it's in no way harmful for you to be able to correct your pronouns. Don't make it about you, because it's not about you in that situation. And you are actively hurting someone if you misgender them, even if it's unintentional. And it's okay to a certain extent. Misgendering will always hurt. But if you can just simply go, I'm sorry, I meant blank, or just say, I'm sorry, he, and then continue on with your sentiment, that's better than any sort of, oh my God, I'm so sorry, oh my God, please forgive me. Stop making it about you. It's not about you. Not trying to be like an asshole or anything, but like, I think that's an overall feeling for a lot of trans people when they get misgendered, is that a lot of people have a very personal reaction when they misgender someone. They have a very like, oh my God, I've done so much wrong, or, this is just so hard for me because I'm not transgender, blah, blah, blah. When, in fact, it's really, it does hurt, but if you just get on with it, don't make a big deal out of it, it's going to hurt less. You know what I'm saying? And if you really want to, like, talk to them about it later, be like, yo, I'm really fucking sorry for misgendering you earlier. I guess that's okay, but, like, I don't know. It depends on the person, Some people don't want to prolong something like that, so, whatever. You get what I'm saying. I stopped reading the comments, so now I have to scroll through. Artists you like. That's not super duper queer. But I recently discovered, it's fine, don't worry about it. I recently discovered this artist, Kelsey Lou, I believe their name is. If you look them up on Instagram, Kelsey with a K, and then Lou, L-U, they're like they play the cello and other instruments, and they sing, and they're really good, and I really enjoy them. And also, Serpent with Feet is really, like, They're for like specific times and specific feelings, you know what I'm saying? But they're really good. How do you get your haircut like that, or is it natural? I cut my hair and then it grows out like this. I actually should probably get a cut soon. Can you make a homophobic comment and still not be homophobic? My mom did it. I just wanted to be known. Yes, you can make a homophobic comment and not be a homophobe. The thing is, obviously, if you are making a homophobic comment, there is some sort of internalized homophobia you have going on. If you can recognize that and try to better yourself, I don't think that making that homophobic comment and then realizing, oh shit, that was homophobic, and then moving on and learning from that, you're not a homophobe if you do that. If you make a homophobic comment and then you're like, that was the best joke I've ever made, or I damn right I don't think girls should be together, whatever, like any shit like that, then yeah, I would say you're probably a homophobe. I think it's more the afterthought or the reaction you have to someone calling you out for it. That's how I feel about most situations. When someone does something wrong, it really more displays who they are when they react than the actual situation. Are you complete with your transition process? You know, I feel like we're all transitioning, whether you are trans or not. There are transitions we make in life all the time. If you are relating to specifically my transness, I don't know what that means. So, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know. Oh no. Okay. Y'all, saying the T slur is not good. Lore Wilm, you cannot say that word. Do not say that word. I'm gonna report that. Sorry. Okay. You always gotta report the T slur, my friends. Oh. Well, y'all are wild. I didn't, when I do queer talks, it's not, oh no. Anyways, if you don't, by the way, just, letting you know, if you don't understand like who I am or like what I am, just leave. Like, it's not like, if you don't get it, then go. It's okay. I'm trying to scroll through all the way to the bottom, but I stopped at a comment to answer a question, and now I'm like trying to read some of these, but they're still scrolling. Sorry if any of my friends have said anything and I haven't responded. Are you sick? Yes, I am. I'm sick. Ugh. Can trans guys say the T slur? In my opinion, no. And that's the end of that. And y'all can go off in the comments or whatever the fuck, but I really don't care. My mind will not change. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. I just got to the end of the comments. Oh, that was a wild ride. Okay. How long have I been doing this? 21 minutes. Sorry. Okay. Queer related things though. I never have anything to talk about. Do you think it's bad for female to non-binary people to get top surgery? Do I think it's bad for non-binary people to get top surgery? No. You do what you gotta do to be you. And that's good. I don't care. Do what you gotta do. Hi, Brian. Yes, I consider myself queer. How can I explain gender fluidity and gender fluid pronouns? How can you explain them? I mean, that's hard to do. Gender fluidity is sort of... Oh no. We should never ever T-slur... Okay. Isn't the whole point of reclaiming the T-slur to make its meaning dissipate? Why is that such a problem? Just curious. My thing about the T-slur is that trans women, specifically, let's be clear, I mean, like, specifically trans women of color, who spearheaded the whole LGBTQ rights movement to begin with. So, also, I've seen this shit on Twitter that's like hashtag drop the T. Fuck that shit. Trans women of color literally got the gays' rights in the first place, but alright. The T-slur was created by trans women, and they used to use it for themselves, and then it was directly turned against them and used specifically, obviously, in violent ways. In my opinion, and I know that trans people of any, however they identify, of any gender, a lot of trans people do get called the T-slur, me included. Does that make it okay for me to say it? No. I don't think it does, because trans women, specifically trans women of color, obviously, and if you're denying this, you are most likely a trans misogynist. Trans women of color and trans women are way more discriminated against and violently attacked and murdered. I mean, how many, how awesome. I have my laptop right here. You guys want to hear some really depressing fucking stats? Y'all want to hear some really sad stats? It's 2018, right? Does anyone already know, before I even Google it, how many trans women have been murdered already this year? Does anyone know? I'll look it up. It's okay if you don't know. And I'm not saying that trans men don't get murdered, but the numbers are clear. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, when the word was specifically created by trans women and then specifically used against trans women, and still to this day, it is being used against trans women. I'm sure it's the last thing they hear, some of them. Here. I'll look it up. This article was written... Oh, well, hold on. I don't know when this article was written. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a man. 9. There's more than this. But anyways, I'll say their names for you, since you should know their names. Christelle Steele Knutslian. I'm so sorry if I'm saying any of these wrong. Vicky Gutierrez. Zakaria Fry. Celine Walker. Tanya Harvey. Felicia Mitchell. Amia Tyree Berryman. Sasha Wall, Carla Patricia Flores Pavon, and Nino Forston, who is a 36-year-old transgender man. Not to obviously undermine Nino, of course, but the majority of that list is trans women. So we are still in a place where trans women are being specifically targeted for being trans women. I personally, individually, cannot understand using a word that the trans feminine community has asked others not to use. I know a lot of the older generation of trans people do feel comfortable saying the T word because it was created a long time ago by trans women, but within the trans community. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with a trans person who's been around way longer than I have. I'm not going to do that. Who has probably seen more direct violence on trans people than I ever will. I mean, I've seen a lot of it, but, I'm not going to argue with someone who's actually, who's fought a fight that was 10 times more intense than the fight we're fighting now, and the fight we're fighting now is really fucking intense. So, that's all I'm saying. And let me find the actual number, because it's important to find the actual number. 27 trans people, mostly women of color, were murdered in 2017. I don't even know if that's actually correct, because who knows how many, trans people who are not out, get misgendered after death, and we don't even think that they're trans. Who knows? I don't know. But the numbers are really, really fucking scary. So I am right now, in my opinion, you can't use in a funny or joking way or in an affectionate way a term that is literally being used to hurt someone violently still to this day. I don't understand. I don't think that, I know that there are trans people who are not uh, trans women or trans feminine, and they use the T word, I want to ask them, how much will it remove from your daily life? Like, what will you miss? Anything? Would it be that hard to stop saying the T word? Even if only 4 trans women or 3 trans women or 1 trans woman asked me to stop saying the T word because it's the trans feminines, it's the trans, like feminine trans people or trans femmes are the only group of people that can use that term. Who am I to disagree? No one. I've been called the T slur, but I don't care. I'm not going to start using it when I have specifically been asked not to. It's not hard. It's not hard to stop using a word. And I advise people do this with a lot of their vocabulary. A ton. There is so much vocab that people use that is like transmistic and misogynistic and ableist. That's the biggest one for me, and it's really, really easy with just simple practice to remove these words from your language. Like, it's not hard to stop saying, like, dumb. It's not hard. That is an ableist term. And it's not hard to stop saying it. Replace it. All you have to do, literally, all you have to do. And this is not, and I'm not trying to, like, coach or anything. This was literally my experience, and this is how I stopped saying ableist terminology. I would come to that roadblock wanting to say something is, pardon my French, dumb. And then I would think, wait, what do I actually mean? Do I actually think that it's that word? Or do I think it's something else? And the reality is, I would always think it's something else. And now, the fact of the matter is, I've cut out words from my vocabulary, and now I have a much more expansive vocabulary because of it, which seems like a win-win to me. So, I think it's super easy to change the way you talk about things to make people feel more comfortable and to make your vocabulary more inclusive. It's just using more precise language. It's just thinking about, like, well, what do I actually mean? And going with that. What would I say is a good alternative? You could literally just say, what is that word? Oh man, I'm gonna sound like I never went to grade school. The opposite of a word. You could literally just, instead of saying the D word, you could say, wow, that's not smart. Like, that's it. Who does that hurt? And it gets your point across like that. And it's just 2 words. So, an antonym. That's what I was going to call it, but I didn't want to be wrong. Yes. Okay. I'm not as much of a loser as I thought. Cool. But yeah, language is complicated and loaded with history. My go-to is ridiculous. I find myself using the term wild all the time. I'm always saying wild. I'm like, wow, that's wild. And most of the time I don't actually mean that's wild. You know what I mean? It's just my go-to word right now. I don't really understand why is specifically ableist, though. You sound more intelligent by cutting out words like the D word. Yes, you do. Why is the D word specifically ableist? Let me not butcher why. Because, I'm not the best with remembering definitions. And also, if anyone else knows, then just... just let me know. No one is gonna say the T word, y'all. No one is gonna say it. So if you start asking what it is, no one is gonna say it. Just look it up, I would say. The T slur. Look up the T slur transgender. Yeah? But do not equate the T slur to transgender. That's a big thing that people do. No. It's don't equate that. The T slur is a slur. Okay? Transgender, not a slur. Yes, okay. Here's another example. Term like crazy. It's kind of ableist. Personally, dumb is ableist against deaf folks. Oh, yes. A list of disability-related terms with negative connotations. It's so easy, y'all. Oh, God. I love that it's so easy. Don't say blind. Oh, he doesn't find you attractive? Well, he's blind. Don't say that. Don't. That's just... What about actual blind people? Crazy is obviously related to mental conditions or mental disorders that people have. Oftentimes, people who have bipolar disorder or BPD are called crazy. They are not crazy. So using that word is slightly ableist. Deaf and dumb. I'm saying all these words aloud. I don't want to say any of these words aloud. By the way, this is one of my least favorite ones. If you say fuck and then TARD, just spell it out. What is that? Just that after the TARD, if you attach that to any word, I hate that. And it's basically like you're saying the R word, so just stop. Also the R word. Do not use the R word. If you still use the R word in 2018, please look up why it's bad, because you really should not be saying the R word, at all. I also think psycho is pretty bad. I don't use that word because I'm not trying to... I think it's also ableist. I think a lot of people who suffer from mental illness that aren't even... oftentimes people with BPD are called psycho, and that... Can you imagine how fucking invalidating and, upset that would make someone feel? Wow. Idiot, don't use it. Insane, don't use it. There's just there are a lot of things that you shouldn't say. There are a lot of things that you say a lot, you know, and you don't even think that it's bad because everyone says stuff like that. But it is. It is kind of bad. And it does, and it can make someone feel like shit. So I promise you, it is not hard to switch around your vocabulary just the tiniest bit to make it more inclusive and make it more kind. It's so not hard, and it doesn't hurt anyone. In fact, it probably helps people and makes people feel more comfortable, you know? So I highly recommend looking into ableist language and what you can say in like avoiding ableist language and what you can use to replace certain words, and then, you know, also looking up if you are non-black, please look up AAVE, because that means African American Vernacular English. I think that's really important for that to belong to, obviously. It definitely doesn't belong to non-black people, so I would definitely, you know, take time to look up all of this stuff and, you know, try and find alternatives and other words you can say. I just found an article that has a full list. Instead of an ableist word, perhaps you actually meant to say asinine, bad, bleak, boring, bullish, callous, careless, confusing, contemptible, coward, dense, devoid of, disgusting, dull, enraged, evil, extremist, furious, gross, half-hearted, horrible, ignorant, impolite, incomprehensible, inconsiderate, inconsistent, infuriating, insensible, irrational, lacking in blank, livid, mean, nasty, nefarious, nonsensical. This goes on and on and on. I'm not kidding. For describing people with disabilities, disabled people in general. My thing, you can look this up, but also just ask a lot of people what they're comfortable with and how they want to be, you know, obviously in the nicest way possible. Don't be like, hey, what are your, like, don't do that. But ask in, sorry, I got distracted. Just ask what people are comfortable with. For describing people, with disabilities, disabled people in general, disabled, has a disability, with a chronic health condition, has a chronic health condition, neuroatypical, neurodivergent. This is a good article. I don't know how recent it is, though. But it's really not hard to avoid racist, ableist, homophobic, transphobic, transmissic language. And I highly recommend looking into it yourself, because that is what I did. And it's not hard. You know what I'm saying? What was the thing that non-black people, something AAVE? If you are a non-black person, I would recommend not using AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English. Because obviously, who was it created by? It's African American Vernacular English. There you go. This isn't really queer related. Well, I guess it's kind of queer related. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Because there's definitely, you know, words that are used that are, you know, anti-gay or anti-trans that you could stop using, you know what I'm saying? Or like phrases or stuff like that, you know what I mean? What's a polite way to ask someone their pronouns? I think it's, you know, I always struggle with this because, like, I never want to be an asshole. But I think it's always a good idea, instead of, if you really are nervous about it or how to go about that, you can be like, hey, 1 second, I just want to tell you, my personal gender pronouns are, and then you say yours. And then hopefully you can say, do you have ones that do you have ones that you want me to use or that you are comfortable with? And hopefully that would then take, sort of the pressure of asking them what their pronouns are, like, or the scariness of someone coming in and asking you what your gender is. If you come out and say it first, if you're like, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know, my pronouns are blank. I prefer those for myself. Those are my pronouns. Do you have pronouns? What are your pronouns? Like, if you make it about you first, it breaks down that wall for them, so they can feel like, oh, okay, they're cool already with, like, gender and pronouns and stuff like that, so it's cool if I say, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's, I think, the best way. If I'm not black, can I say the N-word? Of course not. If you are not black, do not say the N-word. I cannot believe. Don't. Where did the term transgender even come from? Why create a term to make people stray away from trying to self-identify? The term is not right. I don't know where transgender came from. Probably, definitely the internet. Probably Tumblr. I don't know. I don't know where it came from, but I don't think of it as a legitimate term at all. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know. It's weird to me that anyone would think like, oh yeah. I understand that trans people right now a lot of people are seeing us. We're being seen, finally. Not to the full extent, but we're being seen. So I know that a lot of people may think that it's popular to be trans. I'll be honest. For me, it's a little bit hard to comprehend why anyone would want to be transgender for popularity or for attention. I'm sure there are certain cases like that, and, those are individual cases, and I have no idea about them. But for me, it's hard to comprehend that because being transgender, generally, isn't as easy as being cisgender. So I would say, to me, the term transgender has no legitimacy, because also the other thing is, if someone does see trans people and thinks, wow, I've never thought about my gender like that, and then takes the time to do digging and experiments with their gender and identifies as trans at a certain point and feels trans, and then later on they realize, wow, I don't identify with that actually, and I feel more comfortable being cisgender or, non-binary or whatever, but essentially saying I'm not trans anymore. Honestly, I don't have a problem with that, because, who is it hurting? You know what I'm saying? A person did exploration of themselves about their gender, and they realized, oh, I'm actually cis, doesn't hurt anybody. They literally just discover more about themselves. The only thing I would say is if someone is, transgender and they decide, they want to take hormones or go on surgery, and then after that they decide, oh my God, I'm not trans. It is harder for them, obviously, to sort of, if they want, reverse that medical process. It's probably not impossible, but certainly hormones do have a permanent effect. But things will go back, sort of, but not all the way. But, once again, who is that hurting? Really, if they take hormones and go on surgery, they take hormones and have surgery, and then they decide that was not the thing for them, I would think that the only person it would be hurting is themselves, which probably sucks and probably feels terrible. But it's just, that's just the way it is. But most of the time, trans people aren't transitioning for attention or for popularity or to be noticed or to be cute or whatever. They're doing it because they are actually transgender. And I think the term trender is bullshit. Ugh. Bo still doesn't want to say hi. What a jerk. Just kidding. He's fine. How do you feel about people making fun of YouTube, making videos on YouTube, essentially making fun of non-binary people? Not good. That's terrible. I don't know why anyone would do that. Once again, it baffles me. I don't understand it. I know people do it, and, it's hurtful and embarrassing, so I don't know why anyone would do that to anybody in any level, whether it be, like on the internet or whatever. Making fun of someone, period, is not okay. So, but it's obviously especially not okay when you publish it on the internet to thousands of people. Wait, sorry. What the hell? Why are people commenting about pedophilia? Is it because people are trying to include pedophilia in LGBT? Yeah, bullshit. No. It's not, sexuality. I don't even want to talk about that. Like, ugh. But no, pedophilia is not a part of the LGBTQ community. Never. Never will be. Never was. Anyways, that is a nightmare. Who even thinks that? Pedophiles do. I'm sure pedophiles do. How do you identify, as me? I identify as me. Is that a tattoo on your finger? Yeah. Yeah. What's your opinion on cisgender straight actors playing characters who are LGBTQ? Once again, not really the best. I think it's always better to have someone who is authentically that thing, because then they can actually play the character deeply on another level. I think often cisgender actors, especially with trans characters and with gay characters for heterosexual actors, they often focus on the trans or the gay because they think that is such a huge encompassing part of what that character is, even though in reality a lot of trans people, like yeah, them being transgender is part of their life, but it is not like everything about you. And I think often transgender people who are actors who play transgender characters can play those characters on such a deeper level than cisgender actors could, because they know already what it's like to be transgender, and they know that that's not their whole life. There are other things that affect people in general, so like they're not just gonna play being trans, you know what I mean? And I think often cisgender people really play trans as if that's it's weird to me to see what cisgender people think being trans is, because it's just so not that, you know. It's interesting. Oh wow, this is over in like 3 minutes. Why are you perfect? I am sick as heck, so I'm not perfect, especially not right now. The live, I think, will save on its own for 24 hours, right? Yeah. So, that's it for this time doing a queer talk. I'll see everyone later. Hopefully I'll be less sick by next time, because this is annoying. But yeah, love you. Bye.